So I got involved in Bitcoin around April 2013. The price went from $20 to $250 in about 2 weeks. So I decided that I would start investing and just seeing what happened. I invested in Bitcoin for about a year. Things went quite well when I actually invested in Litecoin, and that ended up better than Bitcoin for me. So I left my work around the end of 2013. And at the beginning of 2014, I decided to cash out some of my Bitcoins just for 3 days. So I used MtGox. I transferred into MtGox specifically just for 3 days, basically, to sell the coins. It turned out to be the wrong 3 days. It was just over 300 Bitcoins, which at the time was worth around $250,000 or something at the time that I put the money in. After 3 days, I tried to withdraw again and discovered that the withdrawals weren't working. MtGox said that the money came out, but in fact the money didn't arrive in my wallet. After about a week and a half of having my money trapped in MtGox, I realised that I had to do something about it. There was no way that MtGox were going to give me any kind of answer over their technical support or the phone or anything like that. So I actually did eventually get a blanket reply which said something like, "We have technical problems, please wait," or something like that. So there was nothing I could do in London. This was a huge amount of money for me, so it's not something I could have ignored, so that's why I came to Tokyo. I actually heard of somebody who had come to Tokyo a week before to try to contact MtGox. He got to speak to an executive, and then afterwards he did a protest outside the office for a day. So after hearing that, I thought, okay, I'm going to go there, try and speak to Corpelis or anyone I could speak to. So initially I asked to speak to him, and he wasn't interested, but I kind of moved to block his path a little bit. Eventually he stopped. I asked him if I could get my Bitcoins back. He started an excuse saying that there were technical problems.
The problem with Bitcoin, you can't do anything right now.
No, you can give people their Bitcoins back if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you can give me mine back right now.
So I wouldn't accept his explanation. I kept saying that's not true. Eventually he kept trying to move past me. Then I started asking if he still had the Bitcoins.
So do you still have the Bitcoins? Do you still have everyone's Bitcoins? Do you still have everyone's Bitcoins? I'm going to go for it.
That panicked him. It would be bad for him in a legal sense to answer that question if he didn't have all the Bitcoins, and clearly he didn't. He basically got past me, got into the office and said, "Don't come in." That was it. He basically stood right inside the door for about 30 minutes. He was bringing a couple of staff from MtGox and pointing at us and giving them orders, basically standing there for a while giving them some kind of orders about what to do about us. At the time that MtGox happened, there was a lot of events in the news where you'd find that bankers, they were found dead after falling off buildings and things. Basically bankers were turning up dead. We had no idea what was going on. It could have been any kind of organised crime, Yakuza could be involved, we had no idea. So coming and protesting outside, we were certainly a thorn in the side of the company, but also if there was some kind of organised crime behind it, then we would also be a thorn in the side to that. So basically 3 huge, well-built people wearing suits, looking very kind of scary and menacing. They came along in a dark car with dark windows. They went into MtGox while we were doing a protest. They came out a few minutes later and came over to us. They started talking to us in Japanese. We were very worried at that point. I mean, they looked scary. We called up several journalists that we knew. We said, "Help us, please come over. We think something's going to happen here." But they actually went away, and it turned out that I think there were probably some kind of security guards that were called by somebody in the building, possibly MtGox or someone else.
Okay.
Probably, I guess they were asked to get rid of us, but they were, I guess, professional and knew that they were following the law, and they just came over and spoke to us, and they left. All the bitcoins were lost initially, but after a few weeks, a quarter of them were found again. So the company went through a bankruptcy process, and those quarter of the bitcoins became the final assets of the company. So all the creditors now have a right to share those bitcoins. So basically, we can get back a quarter of the bitcoins that we lost, approximately. So that process has been going on for almost 5 years now. It's been a very slow, painful process, but finally it looks like it's getting somewhere. It looks like maybe June 2019, approximately, we're expecting to get paid our bitcoins back, approximately that time.